We had a major issue on the production line earlier this week, so the entire development package for this weekend has failed. Check your workstation for the details.
Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of my F1 2018 career mode. Today we are here for the round number 9 Grand Prix at the Austrian Grand Prix in the Red Bull Ring, and today, as you can see, we have upgrades that have not exactly gone according to plan for the car. This is now the second or third race in a row where the upgrade has failed, which is very annoying. And this time it's one on the chassis side of things to improve weight reduction, and unfortunately it's failed. So we go into this race weekend with the exact same car that we started off with, but hopefully it doesn't affect us too badly. We can still have a good race weekend. And straight away in Friday practice, we got straight down to work, making sure the car felt great, and the car did feel great. Now, if you guys missed the last episode before this one, then do check it out by clicking the card in the top right hand corner of your screen. It was the French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard, and it was a really good race weekend, and personally I love the track, so the recipe made for a really good episode. So if you guys have not checked it out, then do click on the card like I mentioned to go see that episode before coming back to this one, before we delve into qualifying. But back to this one, practice was great, the car felt phenomenal. I had a really good setup running 3.6 on the wings and also 7 on the ballast, and I was also overall just had a great car and a lot of confidence going to Saturday qualifying. But first of all, let's have an interview with Claire.
Amazing performance out there. You must be really happy. You spent a lot of time on the track during practice. Does the car have enough reliability to sustain that? You had an incredible pace in practice. Would you say that you're pretty comfortable with the car? Great! Well, that's everything.
And just like that, we are into qualifying, and a lot of momentum to carry through. Looking forward to this session, and Claire actually mentioned a couple of decent questions there, but all in all, we had a lot of confidence, and I knew the potential that was at hand. Obviously, I might be wrong, the AI might turn up the engines, and we might lose all of our pace in qualifying, but I'm confident that we can do the job here today. So let's see how it goes. I do personally really enjoy the circuit on this year's game as well. This sequence of tracks now: Monaco, Canada, Paul Ricard, Austria, Silverstone next, Hungary as well was really good. Spa, all these tracks are just great to race on. So for me, there's no complaints. It's just good tracks after good tracks at the minute. So it's a good chance for us to really get some good momentum going and scoring those important results. And straight away in Q1, we went out on the on the Ultra Soft compound tyre, the fastest available this weekend. And as like we've been doing the last couple of races, we try to go on one lap in Q1 and try and get the job done early, so then we are done for the session. In Q1, we've done a pretty damn good lap.
We're up into P7, push for P6.
That lap saw us through quite comfortably through into Q2, as we actually managed to beat Pierre Gasly, which is quite a rare thing to do in Q1, and actually got inside the top 10, which is something I've not done too often this season, as in Q1 we have tended to struggle quite a bit. And in Q2 we went out on the super soft, tried to get through on the slower tyre, and to be fair, the lap wasn't that bad. It was around 7 tenths off. However, we extended at the final corner essentially, and the lap did not count. So we went out with 3 minutes to go, pressure was on. Ultra softs, we have to make this lap count because we're going to start the race on these tyres tomorrow, so we have to make sure the lap is good but not over the top and we're not killing the tyres. So there's a nice sort of balance here we have to try and strike with this lap. And straight away, turn 1 was brilliant. Turn 2 into turn 3 now, you want to look for the 100 metre board break just after it, and you want to get down a second gear. We've got a bit of traffic here as well, which might get in the way. It's going to give us a bit of a distant tow, which might help us out, but there's also the possibility that it might actually cost us lap time. So far we are P15, we are last, so the pressure's on here to get a good lap. And as you can see, a lock up there, you could say under pressure maybe the car in front distracted me slightly, but a lock up nonetheless into turn 4, trying to push too much, and the Sauber of Leclerc there really costing me some time as we now go through this section. And Leclerc now really starting to hold me up, giving me some pretty bad dirty air through those last 2 corners, and eventually he just moved out of the way. I really cut across him to really let him know that I wasn't happy with the way he got out of the way there, as we now go through the penultimate corner into the last corner here, really throwing the car in there to maximise lap time. As you can see in the delta, we are up here. Is it going to be enough to get
2 minutes
Q2?
remaining in the session. We need a good lap here or we're out of qualifying. That's put you up into P10, 5th row of the grid.
It was bloody close, but we just made it. Other people did improve around us, but luckily we didn't get affected. And to be fair, we had quite a bit of pace to get through. Even though we was 10th, we was through by a couple of tenths, so it wasn't really much of an issue. And then in Q3 we went out for 1 lap only because I only had 1 set of ultra soft tyres left. So straight away, turn 1, 4th gear, make sure you avoid the yellow sausage curb on the outside, which we did. We got a perfect exit as well. So far, turn 1 perfect, turn 2 flat out, turn 3 100-meter ball down the 2nd gear. You want to make sure you get the apex. I lose the back end slightly. I go too hot on the brakes. I downshift too early, lose the back end, and we go in a little bit of a drift, which is not ideal. And that definitely cost me, I reckon, an easy 10th or 10th and a half of a second there. As we brake late now down for turn 4, making sure we get our apex. A little bit of a lock up, but it doesn't affect us too badly. The car still stays within the racing line. And so far, so good. Through 5 into 6, which is a long off-cambered left-hander here. You can put the power down really early and get the car rotated. And then into turn 7 here, yet again, 5th gear action. Missed my apex slightly, but luckily we get a good exit. And we carry the speed through on the exit of that corner. So we now go into the final 2 bends, turns 9 and 10 here. Make sure you really attack the 2 apexes, especially the first one, because the first one is where you make up the time. The second one, you want to make sure you just don't run too wide. And up to the line, where's the lap going to put us? And I think it's going to be P1.
We're very happy with that position. Well done.
P1 momentarily, the screen did go purple on screen, that we actually went fastest for a brief second, but then we dropped down to P6, but still best of the rest, and a phenomenal qualifying result, and we actually managed to beat one of the Red Bulls. So for me personally, a great qualifying, and I cannot complain. We really done a good shift, and I reckon we could have definitely done even better if we not made that mistake into turn 3. But all in all, a solid qualifying, and it's now time for the race for the Austrian Grand Prix.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg, and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill turn 3. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix. Let's talk about Martinez. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
They've been avoiding mistakes and have had solid pace, so it's been a good season so far, but whether they can keep that up long term remains to be seen.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Kimi Raikkonen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Bottas, Daniel Ricciardo, Martinez, Ocon, Verstappen, Perez, and Pierre Gasly, Hülkenberg, Grosjean, Kevin Magnussen, and Alonso, Leclerc, Sirotkin, Lance Stroll and Carlos Sainz. Van Dorn and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Right, here we are then on the grid for the Austrian Grand Prix. P6, third row on the grid. Best of the rest after qualifying, and hoping to try and improve again here today and try and go one step further. This track is notoriously known and historically known for its one-stoppers being pretty damn OP. So that's what we're looking for here today. And in terms of the race strategy, you can see on screen we're going to go for the ultras straight into the softs and hope that they get to the end of the Grand Prix. The actual race time is not that much difference between them, because normally the best strategy is to start on the soft and then go into the super soft around here. Obviously, because we qualified in Q2 on the Ultra, we're going to have to start on that time. We're kind of forced into the strategy. So, depending on how the race goes, what my pace is like and where we are, I'll pick either one strategy or the alternate, which is the two-stopper. But that will kind of depend on how the pace of the car goes. Fuel-wise, we are one lap over fuel. And pretty much the strategy of this race is to try and push our calculated pace without overdoing it and trying to always keep the car in the window and feeling comfortable. Now, with that being said, let's jump into it here and let's see how it goes for round 9 for the Austrian Grand Prix. Right then, here we are on the grid then for the Austrian Grand Prix. Let's get ready for the 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go. And it's a great start, getting the jump on Ricciardo. He pulls it back in the second phase, but we're going to go out the inside into turn 1, be aggressive, and get the move done on the Honey Badger. There we go, side by side Ricciardo. We're just starting to edge him out now, using some overtake ERS to get ahead. And there we go, P5. Got the Mercedes going side by side here into turn 3 into the hairpin. Let's watch this from a distance.
Okay, that's a good start. Keep it up.
Got Ocon behind in the Force India. Hamilton stays in front of Bottas, but so far it's a good start. P5. Ferraris lead the way, line at stern. A little bit of a lock up from me there. That's going to allow Ocon on the inside. He doesn't quite commit to the move though. But that force in there now going to the inside for the next corner here. I have to leave the room on the inside line. We're going to carry the speed on the outside though. Ocon's still there. We're going to go on the outside yet again. And we hold on to our position. But Ocon yet again coming at me. This time on the inside line. We're going to have to go sideways here through this final couple of corners. Ocon's still there. I've got to leave the room. Through on the exit on the final corner there. Ocon gets the move done. Here comes Ricciardo. He's lurking in the distance. We're going to commit to the inside on Esteban here. Late on the brakes. Ocon right back underneath me. Fantastic driving from him, to be fair. We're going to try and use the engine modes to get back at him. We're gaining again. Not quite going to happen to turn through. Ricciardo lurking, looking on the outside line, but no way through there for the Honey Badger. And Ocon makes the move. Fair play to him. Great stuff. Very good racing in that Force India. Let's not make many more mistakes if possible to try not invite pressure onto us and try and settle down in this race and try and get back past Ocon if possible. DRS is now enabled here. 3 DRS zones around this circuit. This is going to be our chance to get back past Ocon. But I need to make the move convincingly and definitively. So we're going to try and set ourselves up here into turn 3. Bit of a wider entry on the power nice and early. Get the exit speed. Problem is this straight isn't as long as the other two. We are gaining though on Ocon here. I'm going to commit to the inside. It's a late move, a little bit of contact, but we get the job done.
Battery charge is high. Let's increase ERS deployment to up the pace.
I'm going to keep it in rich and also hot lap mode to try and pull away from Ocon here. Try and break that 1 second barrier. I know that my final sector is the strongest, so if I can have a good final 2 corners, I can maybe try and break the gap to Ocon. Look at that fast up of the Grand Prix from me there. And we've got the gap over a second to Ocon. So we've done the job. Let's try and settle in this little pocket of space now and try and catch up to this front 4 who seem very close on pace. Ferrari versus Mercedes around this circuit. Okay, we've managed to get within Sebastian's DRS. He got passed on the same straight by both Mercedes on the last lap.
The gap to the leader is 3.9 seconds.
Pace is very strong at the moment, and if these guys battle, we're only going to make the gap very much smaller. So we're catching here. Also, ERS consumption is extremely low here, so I can easily run in hot lap and not really use up my ERS that much. Into turn 3, look at that. That's so close to hitting Sebastian there. We're going to get the run. It's like the Mercedes battling has cost Sebastian time, and we've managed to get past him there, quite surprisingly. Let's try and stay in front if we can. The Mercedes are now exchanging positions here, side by side to turn 4. But we are lurking. We're looking dangerous and we're looking racy. The fact that sector 3 is my strong point by quite a margin is allowing me to break away and basically not let anyone get within my DRS to attack me in the straights, and I'm also able to pull away. But look at this, we are keeping up here with the race pace, and we're starting to really put the pressure on Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes here. Into the final couple of corners, I'm going to try and maybe set him up for a move on the home straight if I can. Into the final corner. Look at that, great exit. DRS open. Bottas has DRS himself. We're going to pull to the inside. There we go, we've got the momentum. Into turn 1. Get it done on the brakes. Textbook move. DRS.
Let's use some of this energy. Increase the ERS deployment.
DRS on Hamilton as well, so we're going to be able to pull away from Bottas. Using the full beans, rich mix. And overtake into turn 3 on the power, nice and early. I don't think we're close enough to Lewis here, but we've already pulled away from Bottas, who's been overtaken now by Vettel here, so it's looking like a straight fight between Lewis and myself for P2. This is insane so far. That our pace is so strong. Very impressed, and also we're not getting caught up in the battles, and we're getting the job done basically. Right then, here we go, penultimate corner into the final corner. Just like last time, this time though, Hamilton won't have DRS unlike Valtteri.
We're not going to be able to run in this engine mode much longer. We're about a lap over target. Drop down to mix too soon. Our gap behind is 1.6 seconds.
Great bit of sideways battling here with Lewis, but we were running hot lap ERS and rich mix to try and get the job done. Into the hairpin, I'm going to run very deep on purpose to try and avoid the Hamilton switchback. That was very much a Sebastian Vettel-esque move, they did in the Real Life Grand Prix on Lewis in that exact same corner, running very deep on the brakes. And we're now in second place. So let's try and break the 1 second gap if we can. And let's try and chase after Kimi Räikkönen. Could this be the best chance we have for our first race win in this career mode? Monaco was a great chance, but ultimately I never really had that pace due to tyre overheating more like. This is the first time I seem to have genuine, very strong race pace. I'm keeping it in hot lap ERS because I've got so much to burn. I can actually just keep it in hot lap for loads of laps and not really lose that much. In terms of the strategy, we're meant to come in around lap 13. We're currently on lap 9, and my tyres, as you can see, are pretty much near 40% of the rear, so some tyre saving might be needed. I'm just trying to shake off Hamilton if I can, who's keeping up with me here a little bit. He's not a threat, but he's just within my DRS. I need a strong end to the lap here to try and break that 1 second barrier. Once I'm out of his DRS, I can then focus on tyre saving. I can definitely tell the tyres are starting to really wear now, but the pace is still strong.
The pit window, you'll be on the softs. Gap to teammate behind is 5.4 seconds.
Even though we're struggling on tyres and then they feel horrible, we're pulling away from Hamilton here and we're catching up to Kimi, so I'm just going to keep going really, even though the tyres don't feel great.
Box this lap please.
Yep, on my way Jeff. Right then, pit stop time. It's been a very good first stint, absolutely incredible first stint. Towards the end, the last 3 laps, tyre wear got the better of me. I really struggled for pace, and Räikkönen actually pulled the gap out a bit to 4.5, but I genuinely think we can race today and try and go for the race win. So we need a good stop. Räikkönen stayed up for 1 more lap here, so we're going to get a chance to undercut him. We're going to use maximum power on the engine and try and do so. First of all, pit stop 2.1, great stuff. Onto the soft compound tyres. I should have plenty of grip on these, even though they're the slowest compound by quite a way.
Stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
Even though they're the slowest compound by quite some way, that Ultras was so worn. We're going to rejoin just in front of Carlos Sainz here. Rich Mix and hot lap ERS needed to stay in front. He's going to be close in the Renault, but there we go. He's not got DRS, so we can stay in front. Need a strong out lap here to really close up that gap to Kimi. So on the power nice, no need to be on the back of Hulkenberg by the end of this lap. Pierre's in. It looks like Bottas or Hamilton, one of the two, are in as well, and also Kimi's in the pit lane. So strong end to the lap. Not a purple final sector though. We jump up to P3. There's Kimi leaving the pit lane now. So we've not made that much of an inroad, which I mean I wasn't expecting to be on the back of him by any means, but I thought I'd be a little bit closer. Ultimately, this tyre did take quite a bit to get up the temperature, and I think it's still struggling to get up the temperature now. But at least we're a bit closer. That's going to be hot on the brakes though into there. Make sure we don't lock up. Carry the momentum and the speed out of the corner. There we go, we can make up for that. Right, let's try and get past Hulkenberg if we can here. Okay, here we go. Out the final corner. Onto the home stretch. Can we get him into turn 1? Looks like we are. We're carrying the speed. On the inside. It's aggressive. Squeeze him onto the curb so he gets poor traction. There we go, power down. Use up the last bit of the rich mix. And back up into second place. Job done. Kimi's 4.7 up the road, so the gap's pretty much exactly the same as before the pit stop, so we didn't really gain anything on the undercut. And also Kimi must have had a pretty strong in lap, so we're going to have to do it on track and rely on our race pace. Can we do it? Let's wait and see. We've got 20 laps to go, so a long way to go in this race. Let's take it easy, but at the same time try and have a strong pace to push with. Anything can happen in F1. And most certainly does. Right, that was a better lap. Gap now 4.3. I think the pace is literally identical between us right now though, which is annoying. So I kind of need to see how the gap kind of swings back and forth with race pace. But for now we're pretty similar for pace at the moment.
Some information on Alonso. They've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
Alonso out of the Austrian Grand Prix. I'm just starting to find a bit of
teammate behind is 20.8 seconds.
A bit of a pattern in my pace, and also what I can do to close the inroads to Kimi. I'm pretty much I'm as fast as him in sector 1. We're pretty equal. Maybe I'm half a tenth off.
The car behind is 5.0 seconds.
But then in sector 3, I'm like 3 to 4 tenths faster than him. Sector 2 is where I lose the most time, so I'm running medium ERS over the entire lap and hot lap.
Okay, clear.
In sector 2, and that's so far that's finding me time. As the last time I crossed, it was 4.1 across the finish line, so that's the closest I've been to him so far. in this stint. However, now Kimi seems to have responded a bit and got the hammer down. So I'm going to keep up with this method. It might work. Let's see what happens. Still a long way to go in this race. Right now, Ericsson's just come out of the pit lane on fresh ultras. He's giving me that perfect toe. However, he's going to get right in my way in turn 1 here. We just have to avoid. We have to avoid him. That is ridiculous, man. That is so stupid. How did he get out of the way there? The entire straight, and he got right on the apex of turn 1. That is unbelievable. Right, gap now 4 seconds on the dot. I left it in hot lap that entire last lap. I'm trying to really step up at the pace here if I can. I'm pretty much on the limit, and I'm just using up all my hot lap here. It's going to be tricky though to catch Kimi. He's so consistent on the pace. Okay, I'm now out of VRS. I need to try and save some if I can. That was a strong lap though. 3.5, half a second on that last lap. As Kimi maybe knocked down the engine modes, who knows, but we're catching a little bit here. 8 laps to go. Can we do it? Let's find out. I'm definitely in the ascendancy here. I'm finding pace. Gap is 3 seconds or 3.1. We're finding time. I'm just trying to be super consistent with my pace. Raikkonen seems to have lost a bit, and we're starting to extract blood from a stone. We're doing it. At the moment, that's the least of my worries, mate. Gap now 2.7. We are catching here. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to end the race. I'm going to need DRS to really close that gap up once we get inside a second. Gap 2.5. We're still catching here. No mistakes needed. No mistakes allowed. I just got to keep my head straight. I've not made a single correction in ages. I'm sort of in the zone at the moment. Tunnel vision 100%. I'm on the ascendancy. 3 laps to go. Gap is 2.2. It's going to be close. I need to find something, a little something more to get within a second. I might have to really burn out what's left of my ERS, and I'm going to have to start committing to it a little bit more now. 2 laps to go. 2.1 the gap. A 10th off my personal best.
2 laps of fuel remaining.
I'm lapping as fast as I have in this entire race. I don't think it's going to be enough. I'm trying my hardest though. On to the last lap of the Grand Prix.
This is your final lap of the race.
Kimi's found a bit of pace because I'm still lapping very strongly here, but I'm only really getting a 10th a lap now. He seems to have covered himself. Well, it looks like that first win is going to have to wait a little bit longer in this career mode, as it just wasn't to be today. Raikkonen has been superb. He's really picked up the pace, and he deserves it. He wins the Austrian Grand Prix. We get 2nd place. A great race.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you pulled through. Thank you.
Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more.
Right, so looking at the final race results, Raikkonen wins the Austrian Grand Prix ahead of myself and Sergio Perez in 3rd. Valtteri Bottas P4 ahead of Sebastian Vettel, the only man to go for the 2-stop strategy. Even though he started from pole, the 2-stop are ultimately, like I mentioned at the start, not the way to go around this circuit. Lewis Hamilton P6, Max Verstappen P7 ahead of Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly P9 scoring 2 points, with Daniel Ricciardo only P10 in the 2nd. Red Bull Hulkenberg just missing out on the top 10, and further down the order we have Fernando Alonso, who retired from the Grand Prix. In terms of the standings, you can see there, no rule changes. Vettel still leads. We actually go equal on points now with Perez, and we're joint 2nd with him. Also, Raikkonen and Bottas score some decent points to get up the order. Raikkonen especially scoring a massive 25 points to really boost up his championship chances, and is now only 6 points behind his teammate. In terms of the constructors, there you can see on screen, Ferrari are comfortably leading now, and Raikkonen with that win extends their lead, and they're 69 points clear of Red Bull, and one more, a further 70 from Force India. So they are really dominating here at the moment, and Mercedes also not too far behind, lurking in the shadows there. But we are currently a very comfortable P5, and hopefully we can start working towards our top 4 to really close that gap in the constructors. But all in all, we need the upgrades to not foul, and that way we can actually challenge these guys. With that being said, let's get into the laptop and let's get some more upgrades on the car.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective. Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today? You must be happy with the result today. Appreciate your time.
Right, so looking at the R&D screen, first of all, we're going to purchase the upgrade that we should have had for this race, but for the British Grand Prix. It's my home race, I want to try and perform there if possible. And then it's going to have to be a minor one, because I want to have instant performance for that race weekend. Now, I'm thinking for that one it's going to have to be aero to also step up the aero side of things. As good as the the rear downforce is important, I want to have a front end around Silverstone, so I'm thinking the front wing flaps, but the halo is interesting. I'm curious to see what that does. So at the same time, I think I'm actually going to go for the halo one. I'm curious to see how that works out. And we have 461 points, so we don't have enough to buy anything else. So we're just going to save those points and spend those in the next episode. With that double upgrade, we should go above Force India, even above Mercedes, and it's going to be close with Red Bull as well. Very close indeed. But you can see in the graph there how close things really are going into Silverstone. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, in my home race, we can put in a shift. And fingers crossed, I'm hoping for once the upgrades do not fail. But if you guys did enjoy this episode of Career Mode, drop a like on the video. Also, do get subscribed for daily Formula 1 content. Finally, turn on notifications, guys. Do not miss a single video from me. And also, check out these 2 videos on screen if you have missed them. But other than that, thank you for watching. Let's see my next video very soon. Goodbye.